Miss Cameron, you tragically lost the love of your life 3 years ago and now find yourself standing before me fighting to prove that he is your child's biological father. Furthermore, you claim you desperately need to determine paternity so that you can file for the death benefits to support your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Melvin, you say your brother is not the father, and you claim you have more than enough evidence to prove Miss Cameron is lying about who her child's father is. You believe she's trying to receive death benefits she is not entitled to. So, Ms. Melvin, tell me, what upsets you most about the situation Ms. Cameron finds herself in today?
Well, I'm speaking for myself as well as my family. This has disturbed us all. My mom would have liked to be here today as well, but she's very distraught, and she just couldn't face it to come. So just the whole situation of losing my brother as well. I have a picture of my brother. We lost him, and just the whole situation of her getting pregnant, it just doesn't add up.
You don't think this child is his?
I don't think it's his. She already receives the benefits for one child, and the other one, with the dates not adding up, I just feel that she's just not trying to work.
Miss Cameron, so
Yes.
You say today's court date is very important.
Yes, because his father's name is not on this birth certificate.
Let me see the birth certificate.
And that breaks my heart because my father's on my birth certificate. He's on my other child's birth certificate, so.
So because he's not on the birth certificate, this child, is it Malachi?
Yes.
Is not entitled to death benefits.
No, because they said I have no proof of him being his son because he passed when I was 12 weeks pregnant.
So the stakes are very high.
Yes, they really are. I need help. I'm a single parent of 2 kids. I need help. It's hard.
I want to get the background on this.
Okay.
Please tell me about your relationship with the deceased.
All right, I was 19 when I met him. And it just started off from there. Like, we was attached to the hip from that point on. I got pregnant with my first child within 2 months of being in, and we went and got these pictures done like a month after we got together because we fell in love from, like, it was love at first sight. We was planning our son, which nobody knew about that, only me and him, because we didn't, just in case I did not get pregnant, I did not want, right there he is, look how juicy he is. Mm-hmm. You know, look how cute he is.
Yes, he is.
And he looks, like he does look like me, because I guess I got strong genes, but he looks like Jackie.
So you have an older child together?
Yes.
And then you planned for the next one?
Yes, because I was like an only child, and it was not fun. I wanted someone for my other child to play with. So I went and talked to Mr. Rathert, so he was like, okay, we can go ahead and try, just let's keep it under wraps.
So wait, I want to understand this first. Now, Miss Melvin, during this time, your brother's in a relationship with Miss Cameron. You know about her, right?
Correct.
You know about the children.
Correct.
And so you still feel like she's trying to get something that isn't entitled to her? Why do you think she's not entitled to it if...
Well, there's a couple things. He had came to me, like, it was a month before we found out she was pregnant, and said that she had gave him an STD, and I work at an urgent care, and I see a lot of stuff, so he told me. I said, are you sure he was like, man, I haven't done anything. I loved her. And so I'm like, oh, okay. I said, go up there and get tested. Take her to get tested. And he said they both got treated.
So that made you believe she was cheating on him because of this situation.
The situation.
Miss Cameron, is that what happened?
I found out I had the STD when I was pregnant with my daughter. So we don't know who that came from because he was out in the streets, his lifestyle.
The bottom line is the family began to believe you weren't just sleeping with their brother.
Correct.
Did you have any idea they were trying for this second child?
Yeah, I didn't know anything because if I would have known, I definitely would have cussed my brother out because he has 2 daughters besides the daughter with her, and he was not doing good for them either.
Miss Cameron, you said he passed away when you were 12 weeks pregnant.
Yes, and we did not know the sex of the child.
Had you told anyone?
Yes, I told my best friend April, and I told my mother, and I told my father. I don't know who he told, but I know that's the 3 people I told.
And at the point that you told him, did he tell his family?
No, he said wait for a couple days to make sure because it was a home pregnancy test that we took.
So how soon after you found out you were pregnant did Mr. Rathert pass?
I was 12 weeks when he passed. No, 13 weeks, I'm sorry, because I started bleeding at 12 weeks. And he rushed me up to the hospital because I had blood all the way down my ankles within 5 minutes of started bleeding. So I thought I was going to lose him. So I was stressing over that.
Your Honor.
And then the next week, he passed away.
And how did you find out he passed away?
I went downstairs to go to the bathroom, and I came back upstairs to go to bed, and he was snoring before I went downstairs. So I didn't think nothing of it. When I came back upstairs, he was not snoring. And because of the lifestyle he was living, every night I would put my hand on his back to make sure he was still breathing. And by the time I put my hand on his back, he was already gone. His lips was purple. And I was trying to flip him over so I could give him CPR. And I was calling 911, screaming like, wake up, smacking him in his face, and he just would not get up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Miss Melvin?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you accept the baby at first?
Well, the thing was, it went so fast. So when we found out she was pregnant, okay, which they didn't tell us, then it was, she almost had a miscarriage or whatever the situation was in the hospital. I ended up going there, and when I had to take my brother to walk away, we walked over to the snack machine, and on the way to the snack machine, my brother Jay, he told me, he was like, I'm not sure if this baby's even mine anyway.
Why would he say that? He's the one that wanted it too.
So your brother said to you directly, I
Yes.
don't know if this is my child.
I don't believe that.
Yes.
Because he was excited when I told him that I was pregnant. He jumped up and down saying, please God, let it be a boy. I need a boy in my life.
And then, you know, so she's pregnant, I was taking her to her appointments.
He was my
and
work
I brought a calendar to show you some things that from when we went to the appointment on June 28th. So from June 28th, with her due date of her supposed to be getting pregnant, this would have been when she got pregnant. And my brother was not even around because the due date changed.
So this calendar shows
me going to an appointment with her and
you went to the doctor with her on June 28th.
Yes.
And the doctor said she's 6 months pregnant.
Yes.
And so when you count back 6 months,
yes,
it's during the window of time when
my brother wasn't even there. The time just doesn't match up. So that's another reason why I feel like
it's not his child.
Okay.
And so, Miss Cameron,
Yes.
did you know where he was then?
He was out running the streets doing.
So he wasn't with you?
We was in a relationship, but he was not at home. I stopped taking my birth control on January 16th because we talked about it on the 14th about trying to conceive our son. And that very next night is when I got pregnant. My son was born on October 17th. If you added that up, I would have got pregnant on January 17th.
Well, Miss Melvin's saying the doctor said at the appointment on the 28th of June that you were 6 months pregnant. So if you got pregnant in January, if you count that back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Maybe the dates was off. I don't know.
That's a huge discrepancy.
I have an ultrasound picture right here. I know this might sound crazy, but I posted it on Facebook. And okay, this is his face like we're looking at each other. If you look in the eye, that is Jackie. Look at that bald-headed self up there and look at the bald-headed in the eyeball. And actually, there's another face right here that looks how fat Jackie's face was. Because I know I sound crazy, but it gave me peace of mind seeing that because I posted it on Facebook and I didn't even see it at first. And then people started commenting like, oh, there's somebody in the eyeball, there's somebody in the eyeball. I'm like, no, there's no way. And I zoomed, because it was on my phone, I zoomed it in and there is somebody in that eyeball. And I believe with all my heart that is a sign from Jackie saying that he was still with me when I had that ultrasound done. Because I cried and I begged God to give me a sign that Jackie was still with me. And 2 hours later, I got that.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. In this courtroom, I handle paternity. So this is beyond my area to refute, but I will say this. Listen, they say when people pass to the next level of life and living that they don't leave us. So if that's what you see, I am not the one that's gonna tell you you don't. So Miss Melvin, when you look at that, do you feel like maybe your brother was sending a sign that he was still with Miss Cameron and his unborn child?
I don't.
Why? You can't see Jackie's head in that?
I don't, Your Honor.
Yes.
There's another incident that was about a couple weeks before the time frame of her getting pregnant. There was a time where, which I have a signed statement from my mom, because they live next door to each other, that she was like creeping around the corner to get to a car which was with another man.
I was in love with Jackie. I would have never cheated on Jackie.
I give this to you.
I'd like to see that.
Okay.
So this is a statement from your mother.
Yes.
She couldn't join us today. And it says, I am testifying that I do not believe Malachi Rathert is my grandson because I know Miss Cameron cheated on my son shortly before she got pregnant. In January 2013, my son and Miss Tomorrow Cameron lived next door to me. One night, I witnessed Miss Cameron getting into a parked car with a male. The car was parked around the corner instead of in her driveway, as though she was trying to hide. About 2 months later, Miss Cameron.
No.
Miss Cameron.
I'm sorry.
Let me get through the statement.
Okay.
About 2 months later, Miss Cameron announced she was 2 months pregnant, and I do not believe my son is Malachi's father.
Okay,
statement is signed. So you say that never happened?
No, that did happen. And I told Mr. Rathert that I went out with him because I felt guilty. Even though nothing happened between me and him, I was looking for comfort because I was by myself at that time because that happened right after he went MIA somewhere, wherever he was at. Yes, it was a guy. I have a lot of guy friends. She's the only female friend I have. If I went out...
I'd actually like to hear from your witness. Can you please stand, ma'am?
Yes.
State your name.
April Webb.
April Webb. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Webb. Do you have knowledge that Miss Cameron was cheating with this other guy?
No. Miss Melvin, she was not cheating. This is my best friend. It's been my best friend for 16 years. When that date did occur, she came to me and she told me because she felt so guilty about it, that she had went on a date with a past friend, but they just hung out, talked, went to the movies, ate.
But how do you really know she didn't have sex?
I can only go off what my best friend has told me, and she's never, that to my knowledge, has lied to me before.
Okay, but you don't have firsthand knowledge of that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you.
So was that date during the time when Mr. Rathert disappeared?
Yes.
It was?
It was December 27th, because it was 2 days after Christmas.
You said you got pregnant on January 17th.
Yes.
Even if what you're testifying to is true, do you understand why Ms. Melvin and her family could count back and say, this is what I saw her do in the month of December? That's why they have doubt.
I know for a fact, deep down in my heart, I did not do anything with him.
You know, Ms. Cameron, I know this is very important because as you say, you're trying to get your life together, you're struggling, and then if in fact this is Mr. Rathert's biological child, he would be entitled to death benefits.
Yes.
And so this is very important for you.
Yes.
But if it's not his kid, why do you need the death benefits?
Okay, if it's not his kid, I'm not going to ask for the death benefits.
Okay.
All right, I think I've heard enough testimony. I'm ready for the results. Wrong. Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. To be clear, because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased Jackie Rathert, we performed a DNA test with the surviving grandparent. The results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child Malachi Rathert and the grandmother, Miss Marjorie Duhamel. In the case of Cameron versus Melvin, when it comes to 2-year-old Malachi Rathert, It has been determined by this court. Ms. Duhamel is related to Malachi Rather.
Jesus. Thank you. Now, do you believe me? I was being honest with you.
I know there have been challenges in this relationship because of everything. But one thing Ms. Cameron said, which is true, is that since this is your brother's child, this child is entitled to whatever benefits would be available to him. And from her testimony, they need it. Ms. Cameron?
Yes.
It feels good to just finally have it.
Yes, it does. But it still makes me mad.
It's a shoe.
Thank you, Ms. Melvin. Thank you, Ms. Melvin.
Thank you.
Ms. Austin, this is your third time here in our courtroom with Mr. Wallace and Ms. Roberts. Previously, you were here because Mr. Wallace questioned the paternity of your other child, but now you find yourself in the same situation. Today, you say you need to prove to Mr. Wallace that he is the father of your 9-month-old son, Ronell, so that he can begin to step up and be a father. Mr. Wallace, you claim you have multiple reasons to doubt when it comes to whether or not you are the biological father of this child, and hope today is your last visit to this courtroom. Let's take a look at what happened the last time you all were here.
I thought Ryan got himself together.
In addition, you have another child with Ms. Austin.
The kids, I love my kids dearly, but I shouldn't have got married.
You just don't love their mothers.
Correct.
When it comes to baby Danielle Wallace, Mr. Wallace, you are the father.
He is an innocent baby. Like, I ain't have a father in my life, so I don't want my kids to grow up not having no father in their life.
She is a whore.
Mr. Wallace, you're not gonna dress a woman in this courtroom that way. You better pipe yourself down. Get out of the courtroom, Mr. Wallace.
I never had anybody to show me how to treat a woman or to be a man, or just need help on.
And that's why you're here. So last time you were standing on the defendant's side with Ronell,
Yes,
Mr. Wallace. So now, Mr. Wallace, you back with Ms. Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
But you still going back and forth between the two women because she's pregnant now and the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
Because let me just say something, because last time I talked to you on the phone, you know I called you one day. You had your kids. You sounded so happy. You sound like you were on the right track. You said you had your kids and you all were having a great day. And I have been talking about you nonstop since then. When people ask me some of the cases that mean the most to me, you're one of the people. And so I have to say before I even start today, I'm so mad you all back up in here. So, Ms. Austin, I have to ask you, what has happened since the last time you all were here?
Since the last time we was here, everything started out okay, but we all know that wasn't gonna last long. Ronell Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Ronell. And she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again with my third baby.
First of all, I don't know if it's because you're nervous, Miss Austin, which, look, I wouldn't blame you if you were, but it's not funny. I keep seeing a smirk on your face. You know when it's funny.
Because it's sad that I'm back here again.
You're disgusted with yourself that you're back here.
Yeah, for the same reason.
I can see behind your eyes the hurt. And the baby could potentially be yours?
Yes.
And the child that we are dealing with in terms of the paternity results today is a second child you had by Mr. Wallace, named Ronell.
Yes.
9 months old.
Yes.
But you pregnant again.
Yes.
All right, so let me understand this. Obviously, Mr. Wallace has been going back and forth between you two women, and you two women are still falling for it. Why is there a doubt then, Mr. Wallace, as to whether or not her child is your child if you've been having babies with both of these women back and forth all this time?
Because she's very promiscuous. When we was together, I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. It's what, they would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. And again, for about the 5th, 6th time, I called her texting different men.
Well, where your proof at?
You saying that didn't happen?
Where your proof at? I never saw it.
And you believe she's sleeping with these men?
Yes.
Ms. Austin, were you sleeping with these men?
No. Lie detector me, please, right now.
How is you can't just be involved with all these different men without doing it?
I'm not you, just because you lay down with everybody who you talk to. Because that's what you do.
You and the Lord know you a slut.
No,
like
you're a slut.
Hold on.
You're a slut. You're a
Mr.
slut.
Wallace, you
slut.
remember from the
You're a
last time
slut.
you were here, we are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. You can express yourself, but do it respectfully. So you believe she was sleeping around?
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? 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 I'm pregnant again. Why? Why?
Easy access.
Why? You say that about her, yeah.
So
Why
now,
do you keep allowing me to sleep with
I'm gonna keep on just because I know that you with her. She's
So,
allowed.
I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yes,
if
you
you
do.
can sleep with somebody else,
Yes,
man,
you
then
do.
you got low
I know you're not talking.
Ladies,
I know you was
you guys want to hear the case?
let's get some order. Let's get some order. Get her, Ranielle. Court is back in session in the case of Austin v. Wallace. Due to the exchange that occurred between Ms. Roberts and Ms. Austin, Ms. Roberts has been removed from the courtroom. You know, we're here because yet another child is in the world, and we're unsure if you are their biological father. Ranielle, 9 months old. Before we had to take a recess, we were dealing with the issues as it relates to the doubts surrounding the paternity. You were outlining that you felt like Ms. Austin was sleeping around.
Yes, ma'am. If you're talking to other people while you're pregnant and right after you're pregnant, of course, I'm gonna have doubts about the child.
Right. Ms. Austin, are you admitting that you also had a relationship with somebody else during the time?
No, I wouldn't even call it a relationship.
It was just someone else you were seeing?
Yeah, or talking to.
Okay.
Because I was hurt
But if you,
by trying to get back at Ranielle for the things that he has done to me.
And so, at the end of the day, you all can see now that 2 wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong.
yes, ma'am.
Right? Because you were wrong for going back and forth between the 2 women, and then you were wrong for being pregnant and talking to other men and expecting him to then believe your child is his child automatically. And look, I don't want things getting out of hand, and I know this is an emotional thing to talk about, Miss Austin and Mr. Wallace. I don't understand how you two fell apart.
Because like she said, she tried to get back at me for the things that the mistakes that I made.
Actually, Ranielle left his apartment and he moved with Kendra.
Just out of the blue, he woke up and said, I'm gonna move with Miss Roberts now?
Just go with her.
So what happened?
You were being promiscuous, and I'm not gonna tolerate that.
So basically, Mr. Wallace, you can sleep around, but your women can't. Mr. Wallace, I see right now, not much has changed since the last time we were here. I was hoping that it would. Another thing that hasn't changed, that there's another child whose paternity is in question, and you are a possible father. But you have doubt.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the baby has a resemblance to you or your family? Are you concerned about that?
I feel like we have certain features, but you can't just base it all off look.
They have the same chin.
Let me see that. Is that evidence you'd like to present?
Yes.
Okay. Walk me through what these pieces of evidence are. The first piece is...
A chin. You see that chin? Look at their feet.
So you say their feet are alike?
Yeah.
But they don't change your mind?
No, ma'am. It's just like you go to a police lineup. They put you in there with 6 other men who look just like you.
And you got picked out of it. So
you can't just go off looks.
So you feel like these similarities are not compelling enough?
No, you can't just go off looks. I'm going off her actions.
You couldn't forgive her. You all couldn't work through this. Instead, you just went to stay with Miss Roberts.
And abandoned me and my children.
That's false.
The apartment that I have now is because I moved in because of Raniel. Because of Raniel. Raniel left me to go be with Miss Roberts. He don't care. It's all about him, and he doesn't care. And I'm done. Like, what more can I put into this?
That's false.
The apartment is because he said he didn't want to stay with Kinsley anymore. He wanted us to be back a family. And I did what I had to do to move into the apartment, Your Honor. I do everything for him. I stood by his side when he had his apartment. He went through a lot. And I was there by his side, never left. And I could have left. I could have walked away. I had a family, like, I could have walked away, but I didn't. I stood by his side in earth school. He left me. He keeps leaving me. Every day he leaves me. Like, what more could I do?
That's because you always have other men.
No.
So.
Mr. Wallace, do you hear her?
She could sit here and put on a show, but
no, that's not a show. Everybody
you stop
knows
having
that.
other men, we wouldn't have this problem.
Everyone knows that. He sits in my house, texts Miss Roberts.
Miss Austin, for the life of me, I love this young man because I've invested so much time in him, but I don't know why y'all want to be with him so bad. So, while you're with Mr. Wallace, you're trying to have this relationship. You got 1 child together, maybe 3. I'm trying to understand the extent of you feeling like he left you. You say he's always leaving you.
Yes, every time I look up, he's picking a reason to leave.
Explain that to me.
Like, not too long ago, Raniel left the house. He left the house.
So wait, is he there living or is he there visiting?
Yeah, he was there living.
Okay, go ahead.
But he left my house. He leaves my house and spends the night out at Kinsley's house. With his stuff still being at my house until I took it to his mom's house. And that's where his stuff been at ever since. He just came back to my house not too long ago like 3 days ago because him and Kinsley had a fight.
When you just broke down a moment ago, I felt for you because I see a young woman here that desperately is trying to have a relationship with somebody that
doesn't want me.
She's lying now. Everything
Austin,
she told you
I
was
don't
a lie.
even know if he doesn't. It's not that he don't want you or he don't want Miss Roberts. Mr. Wallace hasn't grown enough where he can be in a position to want anybody or to truly commit to anybody. And I think ultimately he's got to grow into the man that he needs to become if that's ever going to happen. But you two women continuing to fight and argue and get into altercations, you're pregnant for goodness sake. Are you hoping that it's determined today that Mr. Wallace is Ronell's father? Is that what you're hoping?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
And Mr. Wallace, what are you hoping for today?
I'm just, agitated.
You feel agitated?
Yes.
Tell me.
Because of the bull crap performance she put on. Look, well, I need to walk out.
Let's stay here and finish it. Come on.
Raniel, don't walk out again. You can stand up here. Do not repeat the same mistake as last time. Stand up here. Get your composure. Get composure.
I knocked it.
Stop it.
No, you won't.
Mr. Wallace.
You sitting up here, you taking her side.
Come on.
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up. Jerome, just give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Let's go out here and sit.
God. Mr. Wallace, I'm glad you came back. What I was trying to tell you before you left is I don't want you to make the same mistake again. when you were just speaking to me, and you said you're taking her side, I'm not gonna let you leave here thinking I'm taking anybody's side. I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. Now, we're gonna get you these results because you came here because you wanted to know, right?
Yes.
Are you Ronell's father? I have that for you, and I'm gonna give you those answers. And then I'm gonna get you all some help. Yes. All right? All right. The results.
Go ahead and take a seat for a second. Sit down. Go ahead and stand up.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Austin versus Wallace, pertaining to 9-month-old Ronell Wallace, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father. I want to get you all some help. I have joining me today via Skype a gentleman by the name of Mr. Wright. Now, he's a social worker in Chicago, your hometown, based right there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, I have a number of social services. I have a number of resources that I want to wrap these young people in, but are they willing to accept my help?
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright, and I look forward to hearing about the progress. We will be putting them in touch with you immediately.
All right.
Thank you, sir. That's wonderful. Ms. Sherman, you claim the defendant is taking advantage of your grieving aunt emotionally and financially by claiming your deceased brother is her child's father. You need today's results because you won't allow your aunt to support a child who is not your brother's. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Castello, you say you're tired of Ms. Sherman and Ms. Thomas questioning the paternity of your son, and you are here to put an end to their doubts once and for all. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Sherman, you say Ms. Castello is taking advantage of your aunt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain to the court why.
My aunt threw Marissa a baby shower. She supports this baby financially, as in buying his diapers, his clothes, his food when he is at the house. If he has a doctor's appointment, she is there, and that's not right if she doesn't know that the baby is his.
Your Honor, that's his family.
We don't know that.
They choose to decide to
We don't know that.
Erica was there with me at the hospital.
We don't know if
when
he
I
is.
had the baby. She videotaped the entire thing, and when Ryan was born, she saw the crown of his head and said, he is a Sherman.
All right. So you are not taking advantage of Ms. Thomas, Ms. Castello?
No, ma'am. She is. She takes her part as being his aunt. She raises him whenever he goes over to her house every other week for an entire week. And if there were any doubts that she had about Ryan being his son,
told him.
Then it shouldn't matter what he does, because if that's his kid.
But the truth is, there still is very real doubt. Is there doubt?
No, ma'am, not on my end.
Your Honor, when I seen the crown of that baby's head, I'm like, and I just started crying. I said, that's my baby's. That's my baby's baby. You know, and it don't replace him, but having him in my life, it helps me deal with him not being here. I need him to be Ryan's, because I can't say what will happen if it comes back that he's not. Because that baby means so much to me. I can't tell you how that baby feels. Missing my nephew, his death was just not what it's supposed to be. He would have been a great father. And I said, he's not here to take care of his kids. So I said, I'm gonna step up and do it. And being his auntie, being Junior's auntie, I'm gonna step up and be that. Baby Ryan needs to know who his family is. We don't know for sure.
And so, Ms. Sherman, I have to ask you, I see your expression, and I see how resolute you are.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to know specifically, why do you have doubts? Why?
For one, Your Honor, my brother told me that he doubted the baby because...
What did he say?
He wasn't for sure if Marissa was actually pregnant, and then he wasn't for sure if the baby was his. So, I'm not saying even that this is not my brother's baby. I love him. I was with him last week. But I'm not finna get attached to a baby if I don't know, because I can't do that for me. I can't sit here and be like, that's a part of my brother, and then it end up not being. But when we were in college, Your Honor, they were both unfaithful. Both of them slept around with multiple people.
And shock to me. Because when Ryan and I got together, we got together in the beginning of August. October, end of September to the beginning of October, we moved into Miss Thomas's house. At that point, we stayed with each other the entire way. So any argument, fight, disagreement that we had, Erica knew about it because we came to her about whatever problem that we had.
So, Ms. Castello, take me to the point you found out you were pregnant.
I found out I was pregnant in the middle of March. And at that point in time, I contacted Ryan and I told him, hey, you know, I think I'm pregnant. And at that point in time, he was like, well, you know, is this my kid? And I said, well, you know, it was a slap in the face because I know he had room for doubt because when we broke up in the beginning of January, I started to talk to somebody else. He started to talk to somebody else. And then towards the middle of, after me and the other guy had intercourse with each other, Ryan and I had intercourse probably about a week later. And then I found out in March that I was pregnant. And so when I came to Ryan, that's where I say, you know, we both weren't innocent because I knew he was talking to somebody.
Right.
And I was talking to somebody.
Right.
So but at the same time, it was a slap in my face because I was like, you were the last person that had intercourse with.
You're not positive if it's, you just said you were sleeping with somebody else.
I know, but at the same time, I knew for the fact Ryan was the very last person that I slept with.
I never said Ryan was a saint. Y'all was both sleeping with other people. I'm just saying, don't say that he's for sure his if we're not sure.
I have no doubts.
If we're not sure.
Because I know for a fact.
How you got no doubts if you were sleeping with somebody else the next week?
If you look at my son and you look at Ryan Jr., resemblance. When you look at Ryan Jr.'s baby pictures and you look at my son.
He doesn't look like my brother. He looks like our family.
You weren't saying that the other day when you messaged me.
No. I said he looks similar to my family. I never said that he doesn't just look like him.
All right, but listen.
He doesn't look like my brother.
It's human nature to go based on looks, but we have learned in this courtroom that we can't always go based on looks. So let's go on the time frame.
Okay.
So the best way to figure this out is to go to my conception calculator. Let's figure this out. I need baby Ryan's birthday.
Baby Ryan's birthday is October 27th, 2017.
Okay. I put that birth date in, October 27th, 2017, and press calculate.
Exactly.
Calculates the window of conception as February 1st to February 5th, and the date of intercourse between January 29th and February 5th.
The end of January, the beginning of February.
That's when you testified you were having sex with the other guy.
I was having sex with the other guy the beginning of January. But Ryan and I slept with each other towards probably like the first to second week of February. When I found out I was pregnant, it was in March.
That's not what she just said.
But earlier you testified it was the middle of February before you and Ryan got back together.
We didn't fully get back together when we had intercourse with each other.
You testified that you had sex with Ryan at the middle of February.
So you see what my doubts
And then
come
you
in,
said the other guy.
Have doubts, but you still claim him as your nephew. So don't claim him if you don't have any problems.
I said,
so you can step the other way and move
calm your voice down.
Okay, hold on. Let's be respectful and use respectful language in the courtroom. What was the point you were making, Ms. Sherman?
Like I said, I do not just say this is my nephew. If you go on my Facebook, his pictures are everywhere. That's not it. I'm not just saying that this is not my brother's baby. I want to make sure. You see how my aunt is looking? How she is crying? My whole family is like this.
So because if you have doubts, then why
they don't know
to see him. If you have doubts,
because if I have doubts and that is my brother, baby, I still want to be there.
No,
my
because
brother's
I don't
not
want you to
there
be
for
there.
him.
If you have doubts, there's no need for you to be in my child's life.
That's exactly why my brother said he didn't know.
Okay,
because
so when you find out, I want an apology. And at that same time, when I get that apology, you still won't be able to see Ryan.
That's your decision then.
So
then you took me away from him. So
no, you took yourself away when you had
But
doubts.
I just said I'm gonna be there though, right?
Listen,
no, you took yourself away.
But I just said I'll be there if he my brother.
Okay, ladies, we going down a road to nowhere fast. This is not helping.
It really is.
It's not helping.
I just want to be there.
Because ultimately,
it's about that. Excuse me, Your Honor, but at the end of the day, I don't get in the middle of their spats because of that baby. They need to understand at the end of the day, it's not about how she feels. It's not about how she feels. It's all about him. And if they're fighting like this, and I tell them all the time, if I was to die, who would be there for him? I'm not certain that my family will pick up where I left off at. I don't want this baby being left alone. But I will say this about Marissa. Marissa came to me after my nephew died, and she was honest with me because she know me. I don't pick sides. And baby girl, just tell me the truth. I know exactly when she says she had sex with Ryan. She might be nervous and getting everything mixed in. It was at the end of January. Then she told me she had sex with Ryan. She had sex with the boy at the beginning of January. But what confused her was she had a period in January, but didn't have a period in February. So she was confused. I told her, I said, okay, well, Marissa, you know we're gonna have the DNA test, right? She was so angry with my nephew, she didn't even want to name him Ryan. She didn't even want to give him the last name Sherman. And I told her, Marissa, you and Ryan played these games together. Both of y'all were in the wrong. You can't just blame Ryan for Ryan denying his baby.
And so you're saying you convinced Miss Castello to name the baby Ryan?
Yes, when I seen Ryan's head, because if you look at any of our family, you cannot deny none of our family. Our family look identical to each other. Everybody. When I seen that baby come out and I seen his crown, I just started crying. I said, that's my baby's. Even though all the drama was going on, I text her pictures of him after he was born. Y'all, he's here. He's ours.
She did.
He's ours. But she knew, Marissa knew.
And so, Miss Thomas, I do have to ask you, because unfortunately, Ryan passed away before baby Ryan was born.
Yes.
Have you even considered that if this baby is not your biological family member, what will you do?
Honestly, I don't know. I have a bond with that baby.
So the stakes are very high.
Yeah,
they really
I want this to be my brother's baby.
You do?
No doubt.
I was just about to ask you.
I love this little boy. I
don't
want
even
that
call
to be
my son by his first name.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't call him by his first name.
You don't
I don't
even
like
call him by his
Did I
first
call
name.
Ryan by his name? Or did I call him Junior? I don't like calling him Ryan because I feel like I'm calling him my brother's name. Not saying that I'm taking it away from that as his being his son, but I feel like I don't want to call nobody else my brother's name. To me, this is my only Ryan. That's my Levi, if that's my brother's son. That's it. I don't call him Ryan simply on the fact I can't deal with calling him Ryan and calling another person
It's just
my son's
triggers,
baby.
triggers,
It's just
triggers.
Emotions, not even against the baby.
Right.
Just on the fact that my brother is not here no more. My brother was 18 years old. He should not be gone this early. Period. He would have loved this little boy.
Well, I will say, Miss Sherman, as I look at this, this is such an unfortunate, tragic situation. And Ryan is just gone way too soon.
Too early.
And I feel the pain in the room. I truly, truly have such empathy and compassion for your family. I'm so sorry. And I think the only thing we can do at this point for everyone, so we can figure out where do we go now, is to get the results. Jerome, I'm ready for the envelope, please. Are you okay, Ms. Thomas? You okay? You want me to read them? You okay? Okay. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Miss Thomas, are you all right? Do you need to sit down? Are you okay?
She okay. She didn't cry like that.
Ooh,
You okay? Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Ryan Sherman Jr., we performed a DNA test with his surviving sister, Nalencia Sherman. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Ryan Castello, and Nalencia Sherman. Ms. Thomas, are you okay? Can you make it through the results? Are you sure you don't need to sit down?
Nope.
Are you sure you want me to read these?
Yes.
In the case of Thomas Sherman versus Castello, when it comes to
It gotta be Ryan.
16-month-old Ryan Castello Sherman, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Nalencia Sherman and Ryan Castello Sherman is 97.8%. You are related.
Yes, I do it. We good, baby.
So, with that being said, Marissa, I mean, I apologize for doubting you, but I can only go off of what my brother said.
I do accept your apology, and you know, I will bring Ryan around for you more. I do accept, you know, what you said. It just, I feel like it could have been handled differently.
It could have, and I'm not gonna even say like it couldn't, but you know, at the time, we was both pregnant. Yeah. We both
Well,
just
that's
somebody.
a recipe for disaster.
I mean, hot, pregnant in the summer in Texas. So, I mean, like, it's,
look, that's even, ain't no talking then. We just mad all day.
Yeah.
Okay, hot,
Leave me alone.
pregnant in the summer in Texas.